All right. Okay. Thank you. And welcome everybody to our webinar about boosting capacity for clean water in the Western Lake Erie Basin. So we're going to talk about new grants for advancing technical assistance, farmer support, and conservation in our watershed. My name is Allison Bressler, and I manage the Western Lake Erie Basin projects for the University of Michigan Water Center. Today, we'll be discussing some exciting new investments into the Western Lake Erie Basin to the tune of almost $3 million, which has been made possible by the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. Through this initiative, 3 new grants have been awarded to the WLEB to strengthen our capacity to manage agricultural nutrient pollution over the next 3 to 4 years. These grants are designed to support the individuals and organizations working day to day to keep our waterways clean by providing direct support to technical assistance providers, farmers, producers, and conservation districts. Together, our goal is to lessen the severity of harmful algal blooms by advancing nutrient reduction practices. And by doing so, we protect our aquatic ecosystems, safeguard drinking water, and help ensure the continued economic vitality of our coastal communities. All right, so during today's webinar, Brooke Baldwin, District Manager at the Lenawee Conservation District, will share details about a grant supporting 2 dedicated staff positions for the next 4 years and hosting 28 new educational events. This project will promote effective fertilizer use and develop a practical phosphorus management plan template that retailers can share directly with their clients. I'll be sharing about details about the University of Michigan Water Center's new grant, which focuses on supporting technical assistance providers. This includes offering professional development grants, performance-based incentives for implementing nutrient management plans, and creating web-based tools to better track these plans. We're working in close coordination with private agricultural retailers and conservation districts throughout the Western Lake Erie Basin to maximize our impact. We're also joined by Stephanie Singer, Agricultural Outreach Specialist at the Nature Conservancy. Stephanie will present on a grant designed to advance edge of field practices. Through the Farmer Advocates for Conservation program, they'll mentor and educate 200 farmers across Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio, leveraging peer learning and partnerships with The Ohio State University to provide technical training for over 60 conservation professionals. We're excited to share the details about these new projects with you as we work together to support the people and practices that are so vital to the health of the Western Lake Erie Basin. So a little housekeeping, we're going to speak for a little while and then we're going to have ample time for Q&A. So as you think of questions, feel free to post them in the chat as you think of them. And my students, Grace and Olivia, who are working on the project with me, will help moderate that at the end of the session. And also you can ask questions at the end by raising your hand through the chat function or just unmuting your video so that we can see you and you can ask your question out loud. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so I think all of you probably know about this already, but I'll share a bit about why we're working to manage nutrient pollution on farms in the Western Lake Erie Basin. So every summer and fall, we see harmful algal blooms in Lake Erie that look like this one here from last year. And after decades of investment in phosphorus removal technology at sewage treatment plants, particularly the one in Detroit, most of the phosphorus now entering Lake Erie that we can control is from agricultural non-point sources, which are derived from fertilizers, manure, and legacy phosphorus found in soils. These sources are difficult to control due to the diffuse nature of the sources across the watershed, and they require participation from everyone in the agriculture community to manage. So today, Brooke and I are going to discuss 2 complementary programs in the Michigan portion of the Western Lake Erie Basin. So the University of Michigan Water Center program that I'm managing will provide technical resources and assistance for implementing nutrient management plans. And the Lenawee Conservation District program will expand conservation district capacity, outreach, and technical assistance. And we're going to be speaking about both of these programs today. So all the land outlined on this map that drains into Lake Erie and is in the state of Michigan is eligible for these programs. Our programs encourage implementation of nutrient management best management practices in the 5 HUC 12 subwatersheds which the state is focusing on their water quality monitoring efforts on. These are the dark gray watersheds here, and this is where the expanded water quality monitoring network that has over 50 gauging stations is located. And these are the specific names of those watersheds. However, we're also offering this to anyone living in the watershed because we don't want to exclude people who aren't in these priority subwatersheds. So the idea is that we'll be able to measure changes in water quality from nutrient management practice implementation in these watersheds. All right, so through interviews with dozens of agricultural community members a few years ago, we identified a few barriers to effectively implementing best management practices in our community on the scale that would be needed in order to make a difference in Lake Erie. And so the first thing we heard is that there's an actively growing demand for technical assistance by producers with access to new BMP incentives. So these include the Soil Health Investment Program, or SHIP, that many of you may be involved in, and MDARD's upcoming Pay for Performance program that will launch next summer. This new demand for technical assistance creates an opportunity for expanding capacity in the coming years. And we also heard that there's no formal record keeping or tracking system to manage and track nutrient management plans being implemented in Michigan. So it's currently difficult to tell at the watershed level if we're making progress in the state of Michigan. All right, I'm going to pass it off to Brooke.
So another challenge that we are currently facing is not having enough staff and resources available in our conservation districts to keep up with the growing needs of the region. With this limited capacity, it makes it difficult to connect with as many landowners and partners as we'd like, or to be able to offer the level of support that this community needs. Another issue is that there just aren't enough engagement opportunities. We don't have enough events or ways to reach out. Makes it difficult to raise awareness, build relationships, and provide information about programs and practices that are available that can help across the region.
All right, so we designed these new funding programs to help overcome all these barriers. So our first goal is to enhance precision nutrient management throughout the watershed through a new professional development reimbursement program. So through this program, technical assistance providers from the private sector, nonprofit conservation groups, and the government are eligible for financial support to attend certification courses and professional development opportunities. So participation in these programs will ensure that technical assistance providers remain at the forefront of industry standards, benefiting both their professional growth and the whole agricultural community. Our next goal is to support and improve the implementation of best management practices throughout the watershed. So through incentivizing training opportunities for technical assistance providers, this program aims to significantly increase the number of professionals delivering high-quality nutrient management services to producers in our watershed. This additionally allows conservation district staff to focus their expertise on providing personalized, thorough support to landowners, farmers, and producers, helping them to implement a diverse set of conservation practices. This overall strengthens our network of skilled nutrient management professionals and ensures that BMPs are effectively adopted across the region to meet our shared conservation goals. And back to Brooke.
So our next goal, one that we focused heavily on in our proposal and our grant, is to create more training and engagement events throughout the region. These sessions, different workshops, field days, etc., will give farmers, landowners, and agricultural partners practical information on effective conservation and nutrient management. The idea here is to build connections, improve understanding, and encourage greater adoption of best management practices. Let's see here, I think. And our next goal is to provide more support for our conservation districts. By increasing our staff capacity and adding new resources like improved management tools, we can help the districts respond to community needs more effectively. This support means more reliable technical help for landowners across the basin and a stronger foundation to deliver conservation programs over time.
Another goal of our program is to create tools for planning and tracking nutrient management activities. So we just hired My Farms as a contractor to develop a nutrient management planning web platform that may be similar to the one you guys have been working with in H2 Ohio, where technical assistance providers will be able to work with producers to input soil test data and crop rotation information to develop a customized nutrient management plan. And so this platform will be designed collaboratively with input from the agricultural community, including producers, conservation districts, ag retailers, NRCS staff, state staff. So this is really going to be a community developed platform. It will be integrated with Michigan State University's BMP tracking tool to track the acres under nutrient management plans. And we're going to set this up so that we're not giving out private data that producers don't want to share with the state. So we'll share enough information, but not too much, so that we have privacy concerns. And this platform will allow for increased accessibility and collaboration while developing and implementing these plans. So this professionally facilitated platform will act as an accessible and private way for producers, conservation districts, and technical assistance providers to create, document, and track the implementation of nutrient management plans in our watershed.
So the Lenawee Conservation District is planning to purchase a contact management system or customer relationship management system. They're called several different things. This system will be shared across the other conservation districts in the basin as well. Examples, Little Green Light, Salesforce, Monday. We haven't really nailed down the specific system we're going to purchase yet, but the goal is to organize landowner information, program participation, and conservation practice implementation in one central location.
All right, so once we know where nutrient management plans have been implemented, we're going to be able to track downstream water quality to understand how improved nutrient management is impacting our water quality. So these pictures are from a site in Lenawee County that has a water quality monitoring station on a ditch in between two fields. And so the idea is that if we make changes to how nutrients are managed on the fields upstream from these water quality monitoring stations, then we'll be able to measure the resulting changes and demonstrate the effectiveness of the BMPs that we're implementing. Okay, so we do have some immediate funding available. Some of these other funding opportunities are more long-term and require some action first, but this one is available now. And so through this professional development reimbursement program, technical assistance providers from the private sector, nonprofit conservation groups, and the government are eligible to receive up to $1,500 to cover the costs of attending conferences, certification classes, and field days related to nutrient management. So here's a little bit more details on this in case you're interested and aren't sure if you qualify. So this funding is available now and will continue for roughly the next 3 years or until we run out of funding for this portion of the grant. So reimbursement is available for attending professional development and continuing education programs, both in person and online. And here are some examples. This is not an exhaustive list, but this is to get you thinking about what might qualify for this. So things like the 4-hour nutrient stewardship certification program, Michigan Manure Hauler certification program, conferences like the annual Conservation Tillage and Technology Conference in Ada, Ohio, that I'm sure many of you have been to before. Conservation Technology Information Center has annual field tours. This year is going to be in North Carolina. And then software trainings to learn how to use new technology. And then any field education event hosted by Extension, NRCS, local conservation districts. So basically, it will qualify if there's nutrient management training as part of that event. And so this can be used for transportation, hotels, fees. It's designed to help you leave the watershed and go to another state to learn something new and bring it back. So we want to make that available to people if they want to do that. It's capped at $1,500 a person, but it could be used for multiple trainings as long as it didn't exceed $1,500 for all of the trainings. And then anyone who is providing nutrient management assistance to farmers in any way, you don't have to be a certified nutrient service provider. So anyone who's working with farmers, including private sector, agribusiness staff, conservation district technicians, nonprofit employees, anyone who's working with farmers to help them with nutrient management support. And we're hoping to design this online web platform tool so that anyone can use it and not just like highly trained individuals. So we're trying to make this more accessible so that more people can help farmers with this. And if your business is located outside of Michigan, but you're supporting Michigan farmers, you would also qualify for this.
The Lenawee Conservation District's grant allows for $100,000 in retailer incentives to support phosphorus management plans within the private sector. These incentives are directed towards developing short and long-term phosphorus use reduction strategies. A simple, streamlined phosphorus management plan is being developed and will be incentivized. These incentives will partially offset retailers' loss of income for promoting these applications through a per acre payment for their work. So for less than 100 acres, we're looking at about $10 per acre. For 100 to 500 acres, $7.50 an acre. And for 500 or more acres, $4 an acre will be rewarded.
All right, so additionally, we're offering a performance-based implementation incentive. So there's funding to write the nutrient management plan, and there's funding to implement the nutrient management plan. So this would be $1 per acre up to $4,500 per provider for implementing new precision nutrient management. And we're going to be pretty broad about how we define that. So this could include practices that lower soil test phosphorus, apply the 4R principles to reduce unnecessary phosphorus use and limit risk of loss. But we're also encouraging practices to reduce phosphorus leaching and runoff as part of this to support new and innovative practices and products. So if you have a new product that reduces phosphorus leaching through some kind of chemical mechanism, we would also consider that for this. So this incentive is capped at $4,500 per provider and is awarded based on documented implementation. So something like as applied maps or some other kind of proof that it was actually applied as you said it was, to ensure that this financial support is linked to real on the ground results. And these opportunities are designed to help the agriculture community access new innovative practices while reducing their financial risk. So we hope to increase the number of skilled professionals in our watershed to reduce barriers to BMP adoption through all of these programs we've just talked about. All right, and I'll pull these back up at the end. These are some QR codes to access things. So I had the QR code for the Professional Development Reimbursement Program up already. We also have we're building a technical assistance provider directory. So if you work with farmers and you're helping them apply nutrients or talking to them about how they should be designing nutrient management plans, anything related to nutrient management, we encourage you to sign up for this directory so that we can get information out to you so that you know about what's coming up, what's new. And also we're hoping to build a network of providers to help you all share information and learn from each other. And then we also have our main program website. It's called TRAIN is our acronym, and you can access it here. And then Lenawee Conservation District is also seeking iterative feedback on their programming, and you can scan this QR code to provide feedback on that. Again, I'll pull this back up again at the end of the session, but right now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass this off to Stephanie Singer, who's going to talk about the Nature Conservancy in Ohio State's new program.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Allison and Brooke, for sharing those projects with us. The Nature Conservancy is really excited to work alongside those projects. And can everyone see my screen right now?
I think it's just going to take another minute. Last time it was a teeny bit slow. There we go. Looks great.
Okay, wonderful. So thanks, Allison and Brooke. My name is Stephanie Singer. I am with the Nature Conservancy with the Ohio Business Unit, and we're focused in Ohio in the Western Lake Erie Basin. I'm part of the regenerative agriculture team there. I'm going to be talking about a grant that we've received. So excited about it. It's an Edge of Field Practices and Farmer Mentors grant. Okay, I'm going to advance. Did it advance for all of you there?
I think there's just a teeny delay. Yeah, it's there now.
Okay, great. So, the partners on this grant are the Ohio State University and Farmer Advocates for Conservation. We're really fortunate to receive this grant from the US EPA Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. Like I said, it was awarded to the Nature Conservancy in Ohio. It started in August of 2025, so just started. It's going to go for 3 years until July of 2028. And the amount is there. It's $783,000 that we'll be spending in the next 3 years. Okay, so the focus area for this project is the entire Western Lake Erie Basin. So you can see that we're going to be focusing on the parts of the basin that touch Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. Okay, so for the goals of this grant, our goals, and Allison and Brooke talked a lot about that nutrient management portion, which is really important for that in-field component. Our project will be focusing on edge of field. And so what we'd like to do is create some awareness around the edge of field practices that mimic the natural watershed function. We'll be identifying and addressing the scientific and cultural challenges to edge of field practices. We'll be creating and delivering technical trainings and outreach materials to address those challenges. And we'll be normalizing edge of field practices as a more generally accepted agricultural management technique. So as we know, edge of field practices are something that are really important to addressing the water quality issues in our watershed. And we just want to make both farmers and technical service providers and those advisors to farmers aware of those edge of field practices. So why is this project important? And why did we choose to combine the Edge of Field project with the farmer mentors, the farmer advocates for conservation? Well, our nutrient problem in the watershed is just as much a water management project or a water management problem as it is an in-field or fertilizer management problem. As we know, our extreme rainfalls and different rainfall patterns with excessive rainfall happening and then alternating with drought, combined with the increase in subsurface drainage systems and channelization in our watershed, creates this issue with water getting into the fields and then leaving very quickly and possibly taking nutrients with it. So we think that while it's so important to address those in-field management problems and issues, we also know that the problem won't be solved without addressing edge of field and getting those practices wide scale on the landscape. Also, social science research shows us that farmers prefer to learn from other farmers. And so although we'll be working with other advisors to farmers, we really wanted to have this component in here where farmers are teaching other farmers from their perspective about what they're doing on their farms. Okay, so what is edge of field? Edge of field solutions mimic natural areas by creating a buffer to capture, store, and filter water. The solutions help farms protect themselves from flooding while reducing the amount of soil nutrients that farmers are losing from their fields during and after heavy rains. So some of the effective edge of field solutions that we know about, this is an emerging field, so we were excited that we might be able to learn about more and create more solutions. But right now we know that two-stage ditches and self-forming channels are effective. Controlled drainage structures, phosphorus removal filters, cascading waterways, prairie strips and vegetated buffers, and some agroforestry practices. What are the Farmer Advocates for Conservation? This is a peer-to-peer mentor program. This was started in the Maumee River watershed in 2020. It was funded by another Great Lakes Restoration Initiative grant, and it's really designed to elevate the voices of farmers who are applying regenerative practices on their farm. So both in-field practices and edge-of-field practices. And there's a website right there, farmeradvocatesforconservation.com, if you're interested in learning more and meeting the 26 farmers who have already been trained as farmer advocates for conservation. And we have Matt Burkholder featured here. He was one of the original farmer advocates for conservation. He's an amazing regenerative farmer who's sharing his story with others, and he now works for the Nature Conservancy, helping us promote peer-to-peer and regenerative practices. So what will we do during this project? Our methods, we're going to create outreach materials. So we'll be taking ones that exist and refreshing new ones, making visually dynamic in different formats that will reach different audiences. We plan to co-create these materials with farmers and the conservation technicians that will be using the materials. We'll also be providing trainings for conservation professionals. So working with our partners at Ohio State University, we'll be providing those trainings to extension staff, NRCS, soil and water, and their board members, drainage contractors, and just really building that knowledge base with the trusted farmer advisors. And then we'll also be elevating this farmer peer-to-peer learning program to connect more farmers together in the watershed. So the key outputs for the grant period will be creating a farmer-led advisory committee. We already have the base of that, but we're open to new farmers who'd like to be on that advisory committee. So if you know a farmer or if you are a farmer on this call and you'd like to be part of that, please let us know. We'll also be creating a WLEB technician-led advisory committee. So once again, if you know a technician or are a farmer advisor and like to be part of that committee, please let us know. We think it's really important that we're guiding our work with a representative of people who are going to be using the outputs of that work. And so, like I said before, and just to kind of reiterating that we'll be creating those outreach materials, we'll be doing that in multiple learning styles and multiple formats to reach as many people as possible. We also will be holding those trainings that I spoke about. Our goal is for 10 trainings and 60 technicians trained. And when I say technician, you don't have to have technician in your title to be one of the people trained. You could be anyone who is one of those farmer advisors, or someone who is a trusted person for farmers. And then for that peer-to-peer component, we'll be holding 30 peer-to-peer events. We'll be supporting 7 farmer advocates for conservation. So we'll actively be supporting those farmers to provide that edge-of-field outreach to other farmers. And our goal for this is to have 2,200 farmers directly engaged and 1,000 indirectly engaged, just meaning that those 200 farmers will be interacting personally with those farmer advocates and be in some type of mentorship role with them, where the indirectly engaged farmers will be just receiving maybe like hearing the farmer advocates at a field day or receiving some of the outreach materials. Just to go over, I don't know, Allison, how am I doing on time?
You're fine.
Okay, good. This is a picture here of Brent Nickel. He's one of our staff. He's checking a phosphorus filter structure here, but some of the key long-term outputs of this project are to create this conservation, a culture of conservation around water management as an effective way to meet our water quality goals and reduce harmful algal blooms in our watershed. We would like to create a community of practice among conservation professionals, farm advisors, farmers, and agencies using these outreach and training materials that will be freely available to promote a consistent information that reflect up-to-date scientific information and management. We want to instill confidence in and alignment of state and regional programmatic investments in structural edge of field practices and tools to document their efficacy, implementation, cost, and management. So we know that's really important to farmers and those farmer advisors to know that these practices are actually working, that the cost and management of them are something that we understand and that we can communicate with them so they can make decisions. We want to increase the demand for these practices that is reflected in the watershed planning efforts and through soil and water conservation districts and county drainage offices. So just having that cooperation between all of those involved. And lastly, this strong partnership with a message between universities. Like I said, we have Ohio State involved, but all universities talking about their extension agencies, agriculture industry professionals, and non-government organizations, along with farmer networks, working together to meet these water quality goals to support a regenerative agriculture system in our watershed. So lastly, I went through a lot there, but my email is up here on the screen. I have our partners listed here. This QR code will take you to a link to sign up for the Nature Conservancy's in Ohio and Western Lake Erie Basin monthly email newsletter. If you're not on that, please join. It's really useful. And we not only publicize our events and things that are happening that we're doing, but also any partner events. So if you have things going on, we'd love to be able to share some of those stories and events. And I will be available for any questions during the question session here.